They actually tried killing me many times and they have issued threats and all. I have filed many complaints and cases against illegal cattle trafficking and wildlife trafficking and other forms of animal cruelty and abuses. That whole huge mafia is against me. When I was on the way from the sanctuary to my home, I saw something very horrible on the roadside. One man was cutting the of a cow and pulling the out of her womb. That was like so shocking to me.
Pulling the out for what?
Because some people are actually ready to buy that. Some people feel compassion towards the dogs and cats. Unfortunately, many people see animals like buffaloes, goats, pigs, hens as just commodities. I'm not sure why there is this much discrimination between cows and buffaloes. Both are living beings. Even scientifically, both belong to the same species, bovine.
What do you think it is? It is religious? Is it historical?
It's because of religious and cultural. People value cows and people like to demean buffaloes.
Just because something is cultural, does that make it okay?
Sati Pratha was a part of culture. Child marriage is also being considered as part of some culture. Can we say that these things are right? No, absolutely not. Mahatma Gandhi said, to my mind, the life of a lamb is no less precious than that of a human being.
What laws are there against it and are they strict enough?
As per our laws, majority of the slaughterhouses functioning in our country are illegal.
My guest today is the unstoppable Sai Vignesh, an animal rescuer, an activist, the founder of Almighty Animal Care Trust, and someone who's dedicated his life to saving and protecting animals. He's rescued and rehabilitated countless animals from pigs, goats, cows, buffaloes, dogs, horses, donkeys. I'm sure I'm missing a few as well, giving them a safe haven free from fear and exploitation in his sanctuary. But his impact goes way beyond rescue operation. He's bringing truth to light, speaking up for the oppressed, raising awareness about their suffering, and challenging how we see and treat animals. We're diving into all things animal welfare, what's failing, what's changing, and the work that needs to be done. Welcome to Sustainability with Shreya, Sai Vignesh, and thank you
Hi,
so
Shreya,
much
nice
for
to
being
meet
here.
you.
I've been such a big fan of your work and everything
Thank you
that
so
you've
much.
done. Everyone in the community looks
I'm
up.
just doing whatever I can as it's a basic duty as humans to do something.
You're doing a lot more and you're only 24.
I guess I need to do even more.
At 24, you're literally saving hundreds and thousands of animals from the jaws of death. Literally, you've seen that. And without you, I know they would all be unfortunately sent to slaughterhouses. And I know that your story started in 2015.
Yeah.
After the Chennai floods.
Yes.
Would you like to tell me more about that?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I started rescuing dogs when I was like 15 years old. It was during the 2015 Chennai flood. One night, the rain was severely lashing, and I heard the sound of someone screaming. It was like a scream sound. I went outside my house and I was able to find two puppies. They were almost drowned in water, and the water level rose up to their neck. I knew that I had to do something. Then I rescued them and brought them to my home. And that is the day which my life changed for the good, I believe. So the next day itself, I shared about these two rescues online in hopes to find adopters for these two puppies. But I was not able to find any adopter. Rather, I started getting calls from people like, "Hey, dude, this dog is injured here, and this dog, and like that puppy was run over." So many calls I started getting like that, and I couldn't be a mere spectator. I knew that I had to do something, so I started rescuing them and bringing them to my home. So like over the time, we had like 20 rescue dogs in our home, and that of course created a lot of issues with the house owners and neighbors. So we literally had to shift to around like 10 houses between 2015 and 2019.
For the dogs.
Yeah. So that's when I realized that it'll be much better if I set up a shelter separately for the animals so that I'll be able to help more animals. So in 2019, call it a luck or miracle, one of my father's friend actually donated an 8-acre land to me so that I could actually use it for the animals. So his name was Sivamani sir. So then so after I got the land, I was not sure like how to arrange the funds for this. So then after selling our ancestral home in our native, I was able to start the shelter with like whatever funds I got from selling the house. So that's how it all began.
You've donated and dedicated everything for these animals. You dedicated your whole life to these animals, to saving them. That's incredible. You didn't start off, so you basically never had the vision or you never planned to have a sanctuary or to become a full-time animal rescuer. So it just sort of happened after the floods.
Yes.
What's the hardest part about running the sanctuary?
So, like, if you'd like to speak about the hardest thing by running a sanctuary, there is not one, but there are actually many, like resources, funding, and seeing the animals suffer, and so many things like that. But despite all that, I am motivated to expand the sanctuary and help even more animals, because at the end of the day, the animals actually keep me motivated, because so many lives are suffering, and the thing and the sanctuary which I am running and the animals which I have saved, they are like very point one percentage, we can say that. So many needs to be done, so that's my motivation to keep this up and going. And to be very honest, at first this sanctuary was not about all animals. So at first I started this as a dog shelter only. One day everything actually changed for the good. So when I was on the way from the sanctuary to my home, I saw something very horrible on the roadside. One man was cutting the stomach of a cow and pulling the fetus out of her womb. That was like so shocking to me.
A pregnant cow.
Yeah, a pregnant cow.
Pulling the fetus out for what?
To sell as meat, because some people are actually ready to buy that fetal meat.
People buy fetal meat, like the dead a dead baby.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So then I filed the case and I filed the complaint and all. That's when I realized one thing. Fortunately, some people feel compassion towards the dogs and cats. Unfortunately, many people see animals like cows, bulls, buffaloes, goats, pigs, hens, and fishes as just commodities, as just livestock. So that's when I decided that the sanctuary should be a safe home for all living beings, regardless of their species.
You're 19 years old.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about fetal meat and how pregnant cows are slaughtered?
Yeah, it's actually something very horrible. Actually, like at first I didn't even believe it until I saw with my own eyes. It is very commonly being done, especially in Kerala. There are several slaughterhouses only dedicated to this. Pregnant cows are trafficked from states like Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, and all these states, including Tamil Nadu to Kerala. And the pregnant cows are slaughtered there. Pregnant cows and buffaloes, of course, pregnant buffaloes as well. Then that fetal meat is sold for a very higher price,
And people are
and
buying.
people are ready to buy that.
Whenever I talk about this, whenever I talk about how in dairy industry male calves are slaughtered because they're unprofitable, they're killed pretty much when they're babies. Same with cows after they stop giving milk, they're sent to the slaughterhouse. So many people argue and tell me that it's not cows who are being slaughtered, it's actually buffaloes. As if buffalo lives are unimportant. They don't matter. As long as cows are not being slaughtered, they're okay with as many buffaloes being killed.
So this is something which I have like witnessed and experienced, like myself. So like last year I rescued 57 buffaloes from illegal trafficking. Like 53 buffaloes and 4 bulls. They were kept cramped in a container truck and they had green chilies inserted in the rice, and they were being trafficked in such a horrible manner to Kerala. But I was able to get the truck stopped. I filed a complaint and I rescued all of them despite the threats, political pressure, and everything. But the moment I started calling the Gaushalas and other animal shelters, many people said we only take in cows, we only take in bulls, we only take in the native breeds, we will not take in buffaloes. Then, without any option, I had to take all of the buffaloes in my sanctuary only, despite already the financial strain and everything I am going through. I had to take them in my sanctuary only. I am not sure why there is this much discrimination between cows and buffaloes. Both are living beings, both have eyes to see, both have hearts, both have blood to bleed. Then what's the difference? Even scientifically, both belong to the same species, bovine. Then what's the difference?
What do you think it is? It is religious? Is it historical?
It's because of religious and cultural. People value cows and people like to demean buffaloes.
Culturally.
Culturally, it has been like a part of religion and culture and all. Because cows are seen as holy, buffaloes are not seen as holy.
You mentioned green chilies in their eyes. They put green chilies in the eyes of cows and buffaloes?
Yes, when they traffic cows and buffaloes in these trucks, they put green chilies in the eyes and private parts of the animals, and they insert broken glass bottles. These are the horrible practices which they do. The reason they do is they carry around 50 to 60 animals in a truck, where they can maximum carry like 15 animals. When they want to carry more animals, they want the animals to keep standing for 1 or 2 days during the entire transit. Because if they lie down, then they will not have space to cramp more animals in. For that, they are inflicting pain on them by inserting green chilies and doing all these kinds of practices. There is also another practice which they do. They will actually mix so the chili powder in vinegar. So they will forcefully pour it into the noses of the animals. These are all the horrible practices which they do, which the traffickers do.
They only do this to inflict pain on them so they can be
Yes.
standing the whole time they're being carried. So they're cramped and they're exploited and they have chilies in their eyes, and this is the condition of how animals are being transported in this country.
And there is no ventilation, it's all a closed container.
All this is done for meat and dairy.
So like they are all the victims of dairy industry. So then they are sent for slaughter.
Why do you say we're the victims of the dairy industry?
Because in India, people don't raise like cows and buffaloes for meat. In Western countries, they are specifically raised for meat. Here, they all raise it for dairy. They all raise them for dairy. But so if the cows and buffaloes produce only less milk, they are immediately sold for slaughter. Newborn male calves are separated from their mothers and sold for slaughter. So the milk which we see is not milk; it's just a glass of blood.
I'm honestly horrified. Like, I knew about the practice of khalbacha. I knew that in India sometimes because the mother, it's not cows who give milk, right? It's mothers who give milk.
Yeah.
And if the male calf is killed, they put the slit head of the baby sometimes in front of the cow for it to give milk. I knew about all these horrific practices. I knew they're artificially inseminated. I know that they're tied with short ropes. I knew all of these things. I didn't know that about green chilies and mixing chili with vinegar and shoving broken glass shards in their private parts and all of that. This is the first time I'm hearing of this. Is this legal?
It's completely illegal.
But people are still doing it.
Still doing it.
And is that why there's death threats and there's so many security risks when it comes to you? People coming after you? Is it because you're stopping these illegal traffickers
Right.
transporting animals in such way and you rescue them? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So they actually tried killing me many times and they have issued threats and all. So like it's because like I have worked so like I have filed many complaints and cases against illegal cattle trafficking and wildlife trafficking and other forms of animal cruelty and abuses. That whole huge mafia is against me. I have issued threats many times and they have tried hitting my car. They sent some person to like to kill me with a big machete. I was able to escape in the last minute. So many things have happened like this. But I'm like least bothered by these things because when comparing it with the suffering that the animals are going through, this is all nothing. And fear is something which will stop us from even doing the good work. And I don't want to get stopped by the fear. And like animals are going through literal hell. I believe that I need to do even more for them. So what more can they do than attacking me? So I'm not least bothered.
What keeps you going despite all of these death threats and people trying to kill you and you being up against big powerful people?
Only the animals. Nothing more than that. Seeing them suffer and like when they are taken to slaughterhouses, the so like if you look into their eyes, we'll be able to see all the emotions which they are going through.
What's the most life-changing experience you've had through rescuing animals?
It's very difficult to name one or the other, but I will actually share the experience of how I went vegan. As I said, I started rescuing dogs in 2015. I got a call about one dog needing one like rescue. The dog was actually run over by a vehicle or something. It was in 2016, and I went to the spot and I was about to rescue the dog. I saw one man carrying a calf on his like two wheeler, like on his two-wheeler motorcycle, and the mother cow was screaming and following him. He was coming out from a dairy farm, and another man came and like caught the cow and tied her, and he went away with the baby calf. So in his motorcycle, I was not sure why he was taking the calf for. I thought that he was taking for some medical treatment or something. So then I asked the person who had called me for the rescue. So he said that it's a dairy farm and they sell all of the male calves to slaughter. It's a common practice there. I felt really horrible that time. I felt so bad that one life was being taken to be killed in front of me and I couldn't do anything to stop it. So then the day I got home. So then my mother actually gave me a cup of milk. It was actually hot chocolate, I think. And I felt so horrible seeing that milk. I was able to only see that calf in the milk. So then I immediately poured it on the sink. So that's the day I became a vegan. Then immediately I stopped my consumption of eggs and all the things as well. Because like when I researched more online, I came to know how the animals are going through literal hell because of our food choices.
Yeah. And so many people think food choices are separate from loving animals, that, when people
Yeah,
animals.
that's actually the biggest hypocrisy I have seen because I have seen some people rescuing dogs, taking so much effort to rescue a dog and bring the dog to the hospital, like get him to a shelter and so many things. The same evening, the same people will go to some restaurant and eat fried chicken, like to KFC and eat fried chicken. I actually feel that it is very ironic and it's nothing less than hypocrisy because we can't be kind to one life while killing another sentient being, right?
What's the difference between a chicken, pig, cow, buffalo, according to you, having rescued so many animals, and comparing them to dogs and cats? What's the difference?
So I have not been able to see any difference. They all have the same emotions. They can love, they fear, they can feel pain, they can feel affection. Everything is same. In fact, I have seen that pigs are even more friendlier and affectionate than dogs. I am not discriminating between these two here, but I have seen that pigs are more friendly and affectionate, and this is actually backed by scientific evidence because, like many scientific researchers have proven that pigs have the cognitive abilities and intelligence of a 3-year-old human child.
Oh, they're incredibly cute.
Yeah, of course.
If you've seen a pig
Of
dancing
course,
around,
yeah.
if you've seen a baby pig playing around, it's the cutest thing.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that the male calf was being taken away for slaughter because they're not of any use in the dairy industry, right? Does that happen in North India as well? Is that a practice like in all states? The reason I'm asking was because there's so many states that I've been to where I see a ton of cows roaming around. They're on the street. Like, are they abandoned by the dairy industry, or what?
Yeah, they're all abandoned by the dairy industry. Some people, like some dairy people, they will actually sell them for slaughter, and some will just abandon them on the roads, where the animals will go through a literal hell there as well. The animal, out of hunger, they will eat plastics. They are prone to getting into accidents by the motor vehicles and everything. They suffer. Even if they get sick, they'll just fall on the road and die. So many such horrible things happen.
That's why I see so commonly cows eating plastic everywhere, on the road.
Right, has become something which is very horrible, has become a very common sight.
I've always wondered that, people just tell me, oh, there's just cows roaming freely. And there's this picture of India where, cows roam and buffaloes roam and, it's just all animals are apparently just free. Is that freedom?
No, how can we actually say that as freedom? They are not wild animals. They were domesticated by the humans for our own selfish and greediness. And still we exploit them by milking them and by breeding them again and again for milk. When we don't need their milk. A mother makes milk only for her child, not for others.
Yeah.
So how can we call that as freedom? We are the reason why the animals, the cows, buffaloes are suffering in the roads and in slaughterhouses. We as the dairy consumers.
I always say this. I always say that dairy industry is the beef industry.
Yeah, dairy industry and beef industry are two sides of the same coin.
Where does leather fit in? Because people think leather is a byproduct of the meat industry.
So actually, in some places, like specific breeds of the cattle are bred only for leather and killed. And like people may say in different saying that the leather is the byproduct and all. Still, the leather is creating demand for the animals to be killed. Even if like no animals are killed for meat tomorrow, if the demand for the leather continues, still they'll be killed.
This is not a byproduct.
No.
I'm wearing something made of tomato leather. This is tomato waste, so they made bio leather. They made that into a belt. So if you could have plant based
Yeah,
leather, I don't know why you would wear an animal skin so proudly.
exactly. And the belt which I'm wearing right now, I bought it actually 1.5 years ago or something like that. I think 2 years ago, like when I came to Sadhana forest for the vegan festival like 2 years ago. I bought it from a roadside shop only. It's made of some rubber and resin and all. I bought it for like 400 rupees, like 300 or 400 rupees only. It is still perfectly fine. Many people think that only like leather is durable and all. It's all false.
You mentioned coming to Sadhana, and we're actually here at the Vegan Forest Festival in Sadhana.
Yeah.
What's your take about the festival? What's your take on what they do here and what they're doing for the community, a festival like this?
Yeah, of course, I'm very like happy to be in Sadhana Forest again after like 1 year. And like, it's like very inspiring to see what they do because like if you have seen the photos of how this entire land was before they came in, it was just a barren land. There were no trees or anything, but they have now made it into a forest. There's something very inspiring, and I'm very happy to meet the like-minded vegans at the fest again.
Yeah. We were talking about stray cows, but India obviously has a huge problem when it comes to stray dogs as well. I think there's about 30 million stray dogs in this country. How can we manage this issue and why are there so many stray dogs?
So first of all, we have to like look into how this issue started first. We call it as an issue, but we are the reason for this. Dogs didn't like magically appear. We humans domesticated the dogs from the wild and brought them into our settlements for our own greed and purpose. Later, now we are calling them as a menace and as an issue. And unfortunately, many people actually like some people kill the stray dogs and some people poison them, some people beat them to death. And like until before 20 years, it was legal to kill dogs by electrocuting them and pouring them in a bath of acid and all these horrible things.
It was legal to electrocute dogs.
Yes, only in only like 20 years before. So everything got so it was like legally banned to kill the dogs. Even in Chennai, until 1998, the Chennai corporation was killing the dogs by electrocuting them and then by throwing them into the bath of acid and chemicals and all these things. Only by the efforts of several activists like Dr. Shirani Pereira and all, this entire thing was stopped. And to address this, as we said that we have to only solve the problem which we created. It is inhuman and it is illogical to kill or relocate dogs.
Yeah.
It is very from the ethical side it is wrong. And like if one person relocates a set of dogs from one area to the other set of dogs will easily come and occupy this since dogs are territorial animals. The only way forward is the animal birth control surgery and vaccination. Only the proper implementation of animal birth control surgery and vaccination will bring a permanent solution to this issue.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many stray dogs, and still people prefer buying dogs. And the pet breeding industry is absolutely horrible, and not a lot of people know about it. Would you like to shed some light?
Yeah. Unfortunately, some people are starting to see dogs as status symbols. They have to buy this breed and that breed. They are actually people have started buying dogs to showcase their like status and all, which is something very horrible. And like if people go and see what happens in the dog breeding industry, the dog breeding farms, I am sure that many people will not buy. Female dogs are tied and forced to mate. That's something horrible. And they are kept in unhygienic conditions without any proper food, like exercise, water, and everything. They are kept in very horrible places. In some breeding centers, the dogs had to eat their own feces to survive. These are all the horrible things which happen. And the puppies, they are separated from their mothers at a very young age so that the puppies will look small and cute enough for the people to buy from pet shops. Actually, first we have to realize one thing: we are Indians. We have to adopt our indie dogs. They are very well suited to our climate. Why should we buy all these dogs from the foreign, all the so-called foreign breed dogs? They will face so many health issues because our climate is not suited for them. And the final thing is, animals are not commodities to be bought and sold. They are living beings.
Yeah. I saw a reel the other day where this woman calls a rescue shelter and she says, "I want to adopt a dog. What kind of dogs do you have?" And the guy says, "Let me check and get back to you." Calls her back saying, "I only have indie dogs," and she's like, "No, no, no. I want I want this breed. I want that breed. I want a foreign breed, basically." And the guy says, "Let me check with the dog and call you back." And then he said, "No, no, the indie dog also wants a foreign owner, so it's okay. Like, thank you for calling."
This is a very good one, and this is the truth.
The fact that you as Indians, as you said, like we don't like our own dogs and we want something that's exported, a breed that's exported. It's insane, but it's become a trend. It's become a whole like trade
True.
of dogs. Because you started off with rescuing dogs, and so many people feel that empathy towards dogs. But it's as long as they're well, groomed, well manicured, come from a certain breed and look a certain way. Only then, we think if they're cute, we'll look after them.
True.
But other than that, we have zero empathy.
True.
So yeah, I've been trying to get people to stop buying dogs, in a way, but eventually, that you mentioned, forcing the female dog to mate and keeping them in really tight, disgusting, confined spaces, separating the mother from the baby again. The entire animal industry thrives again, breaking the basic bond of a mammal, which is motherhood,
Exactly.
and exploiting the female body in the process, like butchering pregnant cows for fetal mate and then taking the baby away from other cows or killing the male calf in the dairy industry. This artificial insemination in the dog industry, is it like, does the entire industry just thrive on exploiting the female body?
Exactly. We all thrive on exploiting the, basically, as you said, motherhood.
That's literally what makes us mammals, right?
Exactly.
It's the one common thing. But why do you think it is that we don't drink, we're still okay drinking buffalo milk and cow milk, but other mammals give milk as well. Why are we not open to drinking milk of other?
Yeah, that's all like social conditioning only. So we have been socially conditioned to believe that cow's milk and buffalo's milk only belongs to us and not to the cows.
Yeah.
I challenge, can the people go and drink pig milk or donkey milk or even, like, let us say, dog milk? So if someone starts drinking dog milk, everyone will call that person as crazy.
Yeah.
But what's the moral difference between a dog's milk and cow's milk?
Dogs are just supposed to be cuter.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
true.
Literally nothing else. Whenever I do advocacy and whenever I talk about what happens in the dairy industry, people say, "But my milk comes from Gaushala. My milk comes from a cow, who's kept in our family home, and we worship her every morning. And I know exactly where the milk is coming from, and the milk is given to the calf, and we only take the leftover milk. Is that ethical? Is that humane?"
First of all, I would say that it's not ethical at all. The milk belongs to the calves only. Second thing is, no such fairy tale places exist. There might be very one or two or three, but no such fairy tale place can produce milk in a large quantity to meet the demand, and they cannot profit commercially. I would actually ask these people to go to their so-called fairy tale dairy farms and ask them how many years have they been doing business. If they say 20, and if they have like 10 cows or something, they must be having more than 100 bulls.
What if it's one cow that a family has kept in their yard, family, backyard, or in their close to their house? And there was one person who said that, "I know exactly where this cow lives, and we make sure the milk is given to the calf first, and then we take the remaining milk."
So, like, how many years have they been having this cow? For how many years?
5-10 years.
5, 10 years, okay. And then there must be at least 4 or 5 male cows who would have grown into bulls now. So, where are they? So, the answer is there.
This idea of ownership, that we own the cow's milk and not the baby that the milk is actually for, and even the term like pet ownership. Do you think this is the best way to relate to an animal or to create
No,
this bond
not at
with
all.
animal?
No, not at all. Actually, one person had commented like this on my post. He said, only the cow's owner have full right to the milk, even than the calf. How does it even make sense? Could people agree that if the same thing was said about the human?
Yeah. My question was, is there a way to reevaluate our relationship with animals, the way that we look at even pets and how we think we own them and how we own the bodies of other animals? Is there a way to reevaluate?
Of course, how we can own somebody? How we can own somebody who has the conscience and sentience just like us? It's practically not possible. So, like, would people be okay if somebody says that that person owns another human? No, right? The same thing applies to animals.
Bulltaming events such as Jallikattu and Kamla have long been criticized for their legal and ethical concerns. Just because something is cultural, does that make it okay?
So, culture cannot make something right. So, Sati Pratha was a part of culture. Casteism is being considered as part of culture. And child marriage is also being considered as part of some culture. Can we say that these three things are right? No, absolutely not. Even human sacrifice was part of some culture. A culture cannot make a wrong thing as right. Even I have bulls in my sanctuary. The bulls don't come and try to attack me. They are just very friendly and docile. But in all of these bull taming events and sports, the bulls get aggressive and they try to fight because we instigate them to do so. Bulls are prey animals. So, like when we make them fearful or when we inflict pain on them, they just get the flight or fight response. So that's what happens in these events. In these events, alcohol is forcefully fed to them, and their tails are bitten, and they are poked using the iron things and all to like make them run and to instigate them. I would say that all of these are completely wrong.
Sai, what does a 24-year-old know that the 15-year-old did not know? What have you learned?
So, so to be honest, I have learned many things. I have got many experience. I have learned many things about animal rescues, laws, perspectives of the people, and how the thinking and everything works. So many things I have been able to learn. When I was 15, I thought and I used to believe that world was a beautiful place and everyone were happy. Now I know that world is not a really beautiful place now. So many lives are suffering. Only when all the suffering stops, the world will be a beautiful place.
Whenever I talk about this, people tell me that veganism is not part of the Indian culture, it's a foreign trend. And whatever we're doing, speaking up about animal rights or quitting dairy, it goes against who we are as Indians. What's your take on that?
Veganism is very much part of Indian culture. I will say why. Mahatma Gandhi advocated for veganism. He was against dairy consumption.
Really?
Yes, really. Even though he consumed dairy, he was trying his best to stop it. He was against dairy consumption. There have been many of his quotes against the dairy consumption and against the consumption of meat. Mahatma Gandhi said, "To my mind, the life of a lamb is no less precious than that of a human being." He advocated strongly against milk as well. He felt that the milk belongs to only the baby. And if we look into our Indian cuisine, like North Indian or South Indian cuisine, most of our traditional Indian foods are plant based by default or can easily be made vegan and plant based if we remove the mere dairy components. That's something which we are all forgetting. And if people say we have to stop following the Western culture and all these things, why don't they start with their smartphones? Why don't they start with their vehicles? And why don't they start with the modern medicine and all the things? It's not about Western culture or anything. The basic moral ethical value that we should not harm other living beings. It is inherent in our culture. We have had Thiruvalluvar. Thiruvalluvar was a great poet. So he advocated against eating meat. We had King Illalan, commonly known in Tamil as Samanidi Kanda Cholan. He punished his own son by giving him death penalty for running over a calf with a chariot. So, like we had King Sibi Chakravarti, who tore a piece of his flesh to save a pigeon from dying. We have had so many such great legends in our country. Our country was known as the land of Ahimsa. So it's our inherent culture only to be compassionate and kind to all living beings.
What would you say to someone who says they love animals but still can't put one plus one together in terms of how what they're eating is affecting everything?
My simple question: how can you love someone and kill and eat them at the same point? It's not practically possible. That's my answer.
I want to know more about law, advocacy, and you said it's illegal to do so many of the things that we're doing to these animals in this country. What laws are there against it and are they strict enough?
So in our country, we have mainly two laws: the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, and we have the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So the first one is for the protecting the animals whom we perceive as domestic animals like dogs, cows, buffaloes, horses, pigs, goats, all of these animals. And the latter one is for protecting the wildlife. We have so many rules, laws, and regulations. As per our laws, majority of the slaughterhouses functioning in our country are illegal. I'm not saying that there can be a legal way to take someone's life, but as per the law, it's illegal. We have so many regulations in place, and the enforcement, we need to work on that.
The penalty is shockingly low as well, right, for committing animal abuse.
Yeah, the penalty as per the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, it's very low, but the amendment is in process, and the draft has been made as well. Parliament anytime soon, and we have the Wildlife Protection Act, where the imprisonment and penalties and all are very high. It's already in force, and we have like BNS 325. So it has very strong penalties and punishment against those who kill animals.
What measures do you think we can take? Are there any initiatives, policy, regulations, public level advocacy, um, even introducing this in schools? What can we do?
Yeah, we have to do all of the things you said. First thing is the awareness. We have to give the awareness as much as possible. As you said, the schools will also be a right way to start this, because if the people at their young age come to know like what is legal and what is right and what is compassion and kindness, there will be a huge change. And we have to bring at the policy level changes as well. So we always have the honorable courts. The honorable courts have been like very helpful to me in helping the animals. They have always opened their doors whenever I needed help for the animals. They have saved so many lives. Courts are very sensitive, I can say, towards animals.
For someone listening to any of this who'd be like, whether it's taking the fetal meat or impregnating dairy cows, for someone thinking, why do I care? It's food. It's what I've always, eaten. I love milk too much. How do you evoke empathy and why should someone care?
The reason why is when the slave trade was like very common back in the time, and when the practices like sati pratha, where the women were thrown into fire along with their dead husbands, when it was common back then, when the child marriages were common back then, people back then also asked the same question: why should I care? Why should I care? And you have to stop this. The only reason is because a being who can feel love, affection, fear, pain, and all emotions just like us is suffering. It's our moral duty to stop that. So when they suffer because of the choices we make, we are even more responsibility to stop that.
Hmm. What is something that someone can do on a daily basis to protect animals?
So the first thing they have to do is they have to stop harming the animals through the diet choices, through their food choices. That's the basic thing I would ask everyone to do. If you can't help, at least please don't harm them.
Does that
That's the basic request which I put to the people. And apart from that, so when it is about helping the animals, they don't necessarily need to start a big sanctuary and help the animals. They can help in whatever ways they can. It can be as simple as keeping a water bowl outside our house, or it can be feeding the stray animals in our area, or like if any animal is sick in our area, we can take them to the nearby veterinary hospital, and we can spread awareness about compassion and kindness towards all living beings. And if we see something wrong happening in front of our own eyes, we can file a complaint and get action taken against them. There are so many ways.
reflecting on your journey so far, what's been the most rewarding aspect of it?
So the most rewarding aspect of my entire journey is whenever I see an animal recover and thrive. Like some animals come here in a very bad shape, in a very horrible condition, and when they recover and thrive, there can be nothing more happier than seeing that.
Could you share one heartwarming story about a rescue?
Yeah, it's actually a heartwarming story, and it's a story which made me believe that the animals are not voiceless. Many people say that animals are voiceless, but I believe that animals are not voiceless, because back in 2020 I got a call saying that one pregnant cow was about to be killed in a slaughter shed. Then I informed the police and we went to the spot. Then we searched all the place, the entire place, but we couldn't find any trace of any single cow or anything there. Then after searching the place for a good 30 minutes, we were about to step in our cars and leave. So that's when I hear the sound of a cow screaming, like moving sound. Then we immediately went back and checked. So then we found out that the cow was actually kept hidden in a pit covered with the leaves. So then we rescued her and brought her to our sanctuary. Then within a few months, she gave birth to a male calf, and he's still there very happily in the sanctuary. But she passed away shortly after because of having so many plastics in her stomach and all that. And that incident actually made me realize that the animals are not voiceless as people perceive them to be. Animals have one of the most powerful and passionate voices, but we humans actually turn our ears deaf to them. Just because they don't speak in a language which we can understand, it doesn't mean that they are mute, and it doesn't mean that they don't have any emotions or senses. They have everything.
If animals could speak, what do you think they'd say?
So there is actually one saying: if animals could speak, the mankind would weep. That's how much we are doing to them.
Hmm. What's the most unexpected lesson you've learned from the sanctuary?
Many. It's actually difficult to quote one. I have learned many which are like even like beyond my which are even beyond my understanding. I have learned so many.
Give me three.
Three. The one thing is that the so that the the animals are very strong, and they are like they have so much willpower. The animals who I thought that wouldn't make it out at all, they made it alive. They recovered, and with whatever difficulties they have, they are still thriving, and they are being very happy. So we humans actually decide to end our lives, and we get so upset for even small things. But I have seen that animals are not suicidal. Animals have so much willpower. We need to learn that from them.
Hmm. That's lesson one.
Yeah, that's lesson one. Lesson number two is to be as kind as and as forgiving as animals.
Hmm. And the third one.
Lesson number three is to be as trustworthy as animals.
Love that. It's beautiful. Sai, how can someone listening to this support the work that you do, support the sanctuary?
So it would actually really mean a lot if more people come to support the sanctuary, because I have got into around the depth of like 30 lakhs by running the sanctuary. And like, we don't have that many donors. If people can come forward to contribute, and that like necessarily not be in money, even they can contribute in terms of medicines and food for the animals. That such helps would really mean a lot to for me, and it would enable me to help even more animals.
My last question to you is, what does sustainability mean to you?
So sustainability is all about living our lives without harming other lives as much as possible. Because like unknowingly we may cause harm to the environment or some lives around us. We may cause suffering to other lives unknowingly, but knowingly causing suffering and harm, and knowingly causing suffering and harm in the name of food to other living beings, when that surely can be avoided and stopped. That's completely cruel.
Yeah. Sai, I'm so inspired by your story. I'm so inspired by the work you do. And as I said, the countless lives that you've saved through, purely just the compassion of your heart. And I know if the animals could speak, they would, they would weep and they would thank you, in ways that you wouldn't even imagine. So for everything that you do, despite the, fear, despite so many threats coming your way, despite your life being in danger to save their lives, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for doing this with me, and thank you again for the work that you do.